So I think we've all had that feeling when we've come down in the morning, gone to check out our little seedlings that we've sown and discovered that the slugs and snails have unfortunately munched on them and they are no more. But I've got a few tips to at least reduce some of the slug damage. And if you hang around till right till the end, I will show you my favourite tip. Not all slugs and snails are baddies. So do just bear in mind that there are some slugs, such as the leopard slug and the green cellar slug, actually goodies, they actually help gardeners. And they do that by actually, they feed on some of the decomposing material. So they're great if you sort of have them near the compost heap. And they won't feed on your green living leaves. But even better than that, they're slightly predatory as well, which means that they will even reduce down some of the baddie slugs and the baddie snails. So they can be a real gardener's friend. But a few of them will cause a bit of damage to your garden. You're never going to eradicate the damage completely, but you can at least reduce them. Slugs and snails can cause some real damage to your garden if you don't keep an eye out. And I've got a few little hacks to show you on the way, but I'm just going to remove this one here just before he does too much damage to my sunflower seedlings. So one of the techniques to reduce slug and snail damage is to use these copper tapes. And they're very easy to use. Stick it around the base of your plant. It's got a little jaggedy edge, so you put the jaggedy bit at the bottom, so this copper tape will hopefully keep them at bay. The trick is to keep the serrated edge down as well, and they don't like the surface and they won't sort of cross over it. You will find as this copper tape ages it might go a green colour, but I think it should still be effective. So I will look forward to seeing how this one works out. So one of the other techniques for controlling slugs and snails is to use these wool pellets. The theory is that the slugs and snails don't like to travel over these wool pellets. So you just need a handful of them and just basically run them along the edge of where your seedlings are. The idea being that, yeah, they're not going to travel across it. All this lot will last for one season, so you don't need to keep putting an application down. It is wildlife friendly, it's biodegradable, and this is actually a really good method for if you've got your plants in the ground, because obviously like the copper tape's fine for sort of pots and containers and things like that. This is a much more effective method, and I like the idea that you've only got to apply it once in the season, and it should even survive all like the worst of British weather. So it should sort of stand up to all the rain and everything. Hopefully shouldn't wash away, so will hopefully deter snails. So another technique you can use is washed eggshell. So I've just boiled up some eggs, given them a clean, and this sharp abrasive edge is another type of barrier that you can put around your plant to prevent slugs and snails from crawling up and eating your seedlings, like this poor old sunflower seedling here. So the idea is you just take some of your washed eggshells and you put it over the surface here. The theory being all these jaggedy edges will stop them from coming in and nibbling your seedling. Even if it doesn't work, help as a little bit of a mulch. It should help retain a little bit of moisture and sort of suppress any sort of competing weeds as well. I must admit, I do like an occasional drink of beer, and so do slugs and snails. So we can use that to our advantage by making these beer traps for slugs and snails. The theory is that you take a jar or a glass, you fill it up with some beer, and then you bury it. Hopefully the slugs and snails will be attracted to the scent of that yeast and the hops and that lovely aroma, and they will come up and they will go to have a drink of the beer, and they will pop in, drop down, and in the morning you can come along and you can collect up all your slugs and snails that have fallen into your beer trap. So here's the beer. Like I say, it is a bit of a terrible waste, but I don't need to use all of it. I'm just going to pour a tiny bit in the jar. Like that. Cheers. So I'm just going to bury it in the soil here, and you don't want to completely bury it, just want to leave a little lip, and the idea is that will stop other bugs and things dropping into it, because there are lots of beneficial insects and beetles and things there. So this little lip just here will just stop anything else running in. But there you go, there's one lovely little beer trap for the slugs and snails in my garden. So at the start of the video I promised you my favorite hack for deterring slugs and snails, and this is it. So I'm just about to plant out my kohlrabi seedlings here, and I know full well that if I just leave them overnight, come back in the morning, I'll probably find them all being eaten by the slugs and snails. So my favorite tip is to find like a tile or a plank of wood, lean it up on the shady side of a raised bed or just in a flower border. Leave it there overnight. You could just wet it as well with a watering can, just because slugs and snails like it really damp. And then the idea is that the slugs and snails will come congregate on the underneath of your roof tile or your plank of wood. And so in the morning, you just come down, turn it over, and hopefully all the slugs and snails will be there. And you can then, well, it's up to you how you want to dispose of them. This is one I did earlier. This is one that I left last night, and I just want to show you here. Look at that. So it does work. I think it's such a good method. Doesn't harm the slugs or snails. I think it's a really good method of controlling the amount of slugs and snails you've got in your garden. So there you go. That's my top tip for reducing slug and snail damage. So if you like that video, please do like and subscribe for more BBC Gardener's World magazine gardening action.